As we approached the deadline for rookie contract extensions last night, I don't think a lot of us expected breaking news and a massive contract extension for Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, Giannis was eligible for a supermax extension, and the Bucks would be crazy not to offer that to him given he's a top 3 player in the NBA. And without him, the Bucks would probably go back into obscurity and be irrelevant again. But throughout the offseason, Giannis has been making various comments about how he needs to see this team being on the same page as him and committed to winning a championship, multiple championships, before he signs any kind of extension. Point blank saying that if he doesn't see that he's not signing an extension. For Giannis, he was essentially putting the Bucks on the hot seat that, hey, you need to show me that you mean business, that you're building a competitive team around me, and not just for this upcoming season, but for the foreseeable future. When Giannis started making all these comments, the rumors, of course, started swirling that, hey, Giannis is likely not going to be with the Milwaukee Bucks for the long term. He's either eventually going to ask out by requesting a trade, or he'll decline his player option in the final year of his current deal and become an unrestricted free agent in 2025 and leave to go to a different team. Like, literally, you had podcasts, talk shows, media outlets speculating where Giannis was going to go in 2025 as if it was a foregone conclusion. And then the Bucks traded for Damian Lillard, and everything changed. But should Giannis be relying on this trade for Lillard a little too much? Was it the right time to sign an extension? What does it mean for his future and the future of the Milwaukee Bucks? As always, if you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, it would of course mean a great deal to me if you subscribed, and in return I'll be providing more NBA content like this. Now, the timing of Giannis signing this deal is funny to me because literally about an hour before the contract extension was announced, I uploaded a video on some of the biggest storylines and question marks going into this upcoming season, and one of them was, is the duo of Giannis and Dame going to work? And I shouldn't say work because we all know they're going to be a monster of a pairing and the Bucks will be one of the best teams in the league, but more so, will it result in a championship, multiple championships? And if it doesn't work or they keep falling short of expectations, what does that mean for Giannis and his future? And how he could potentially ask out or leave in free agency, and then the Bucks are stuck with the bag of having to pay Damian Lillard. And then of course, we got the word that Giannis had agreed to a 3-year, $186 million extension, which will pay him through 2028 with a player option on the final year of that deal, where he'll be making upwards of $65 million. Crazy how much these NBA salaries are increasing every year. Now, the financials are clear. This makes a ton of sense for Giannis. With the player option, this actually gives him the chance to earn even more money because of what they now have as the over 38 rule in the new CBA. This enables him to sign another short-term extension in 2026, which at his age, at that time, you would assume he would still be in his prime and earning max money potential on an extension. And then he would be eligible for another max extension to the tune of 4 years in 2028. Basically maximizing as much earnings as possible by signing shorter term deals to take advantage of the new salary cap increases over time. But the financials aside, was it the right time for Giannis to extend? Now, the short answer is yes, because even if things don't work out, the Bucks underperform, say him and Dame don't get along, which I think is highly unlikely, he can still demand a trade, and he'll still get all of that guaranteed money coming to him. But requesting a trade is a little more complicated than just demanding one and saying you want to go to X team, and you'll be able to go there. Doesn't always work out that way. Case in point, Damian Lillard not getting his wish to go to Miami. Same with Bradley Beal, who also wanted to go to Miami, and he had more leverage because of a no-trade clause in his contract, but ultimately went to Phoenix. Yes, generally speaking, superstars, if they want out of their respective teams, they can usually force their way out to the team that they want to go to, but it's not always the case. And it can be hard to execute depending on the trade market at the given time and the assets a given team has at their disposal to make a trade work. And so for Giannis, while yes, the financial piece was important to him, obviously he's going to be looking to make the most money he possibly can, but I don't get the sense that for him, the money was the top priority. Otherwise, why would you waver in your assertion that you're not going to sign an extension unless this team is serious about competing for a title? Giannis wants to win championships more than anything. He has a ring, but like every NBA superstar, every NBA legend, you want to be known as one of the best of the best. And in order to get there, you have to win multiple titles. And the reason I say all this is because I'm sure in Giannis's eyes, trading for Dame, the Bucks, that means they're serious. And he now sees a path forward of winning multiple championships. As good as Jrue Holiday was and is, Dame is on a whole nother level. You're talking about one of the greatest scorers of this generation, one of the greatest shooters of all time. And so if you're Giannis, you say, yep, I'm comfortable and confident in signing here long term. Now I've got the best of both worlds. I got the best financial outcome that enables me to maximize my earnings, and I've got a championship team. But here is where I waver a bit, because don't get me wrong, the Bucks are still going to be incredible this season. They are a title team. They're going to be extremely hard to beat. Giannis and Dame are going to complement each other so nicely. Pick and roll, pick and pop. It's going to be a nightmare for teams to guard these guys. But I'll go back to what I said in my video yesterday. This season, yes, things look great. But what about the season after that and the season after that? Giannis is only 28. He's still in his prime. But the rest of that core roster, 2 to 3 seasons from now, are they still going to be playing at a high level? Brook Lopez, Middleton, as well as Dame, they're all north of 30. And they're all on pretty hefty contracts for their age. So with their main core players outside of Giannis all being in their early to mid 30s, the window to win a championship, let alone multiple championships, is pretty small. What happens if the Bucks don't win the title this season? Which again, the odds of them winning it are higher than most. But with the likes of the Celtics, they got better. The defending champion Nuggets, who I will still never rule out. The Suns and their big three, it's just, to me, it's not a given that they will walk away with the championship. And then if you don't win this upcoming season, you're obviously still going to be in the running to win a chip. But the players are now older, and the longer you don't win a title, the further out you get to a place where the Bucks have aged out. Now, that's not to say that they don't have the ability to make trades for some of these players to try and get younger. I mean, the other benefit of having 2 superstars is it's easier to attract other free agents or disgruntled players to want them to come play for you. But I hesitate to say that just having your best players all be north of 32, knowing Middleton's injury history, and you could even say the same thing for Dame as well, looking at the roster and stacking it up against the other elite teams around the league and what they're building and saying, yes, I see a path of multiple titles, a potential dynasty. Not just looking at a championship for this upcoming season, but a title team for the foreseeable future. In that vein, for Giannis, maybe it would have made more sense to see how this upcoming season transpires. Like even just to see how this roster looks and performs and assess at the end of the year if it makes more sense to sign an extension at that time. Because he still could have signed a 2-year extension and been on the same timeline to achieve the most money possible with the over 38 rule. I don't know, for me, it's a big shift to bring in a player like Damian Lillard, but also losing Jrue Holiday at the same time. On paper, everything sounds great, but actually seeing how that translates on the court is a different story. I'll be curious to see how this Bucks team does not only for this upcoming season, but the next 2 to 3 seasons now that they have Giannis locked up through his prime. How many championships do you see this team winning under this new deal that they've struck with Giannis? Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.